On this episode of the John1911 Podcast, the cheap red dot dies, an analysis of Biden's chances, 9mm AR-15s are awesome, and Freeze won't give me charity. Okay, good morning everybody. This is Marky and Freeze, and this is episode 131 of the John1911 Podcast. How's your day going so far, Freeze?
It's actually pretty good.
Pretty good. You're off this week, right?
Yes, I am.
You sound rested and, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. It's late today. It's 9:30, so.
Yeah, no, it's late for us, but
yeah,
I'm just out in the garage enjoying, of course, rain.
Oh man. So let me go ahead and say this because we haven't talked at all yet today. When I say late, I mean 9:30 a.m. for all you club kids out there. It's not 9:30 p.m.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm usually in bed at 9:30 p.m.
Yeah, I had flashbacks from college. So this week I did something that I haven't done in probably 6 months. And what it was is I had my truck cleaned inside of the house.
Well, it's funny you mention that because the Suburban hasn't been washed, waxed, or cleaned in 3 years.
Yeah, so I don't normally run around with a teared up truck or teared up vehicle, but we've been doing all this construction for a year. So, I mean, literally there's mud inside the truck because, you're working on it, trying to build these ranges, muddy boots, you're getting in the truck, you got muddy floors, it's muddy.
Sure.
It's gotten to the point that, my good gym shoes, if I'm going to work out, I don't wear them in the truck. So I have to, take off my good gym shoes and put on my old ratty ones to take my truck down the street, which is okay. So get the truck clean because, I had it clean for you and your dad, right? It was clean.
No, it was fairly clean. Yeah.
No, fairly clean. It was clean then. Yeah, because it was clean. So, it was.
Actually, the seat I sit in has food smears and all kinds of crap on it. So it was.
Yeah. Well, hey, you live in the truck, so
hey,
it's
I
my
understand.
office, it's my kitchen, it's everything. So
Sure.
So anyway, I was going to go this morning and head out to the range because I'm throwing hay and seed down for a third time on the berm in the pit, and I hear it at about, I don't know what time it rained this morning real hard. I wasn't awake yet. I don't think it was at 4 or 3 o'clock.
I think it was around 2 or 3 o'clock because. We're in the interim period where I have my windows open between the furnace and the air conditioning, and the thunder, it woke me up.
Yeah, something woke, and I heard it, on the building, and I was like, "Holy shit! It's another heavy ass rain." It sounded like a heavy rain.
Oh yeah, it came down hard.
And here's the thing: I've got some stuff scheduled for tomorrow where people will be getting in my truck, which is part of the reason why I had the truck cleaned. And I'm like, well, I guess I won't go to the range today just to get it all muddy and have it all teared up for tomorrow. So
yeah,
that's what's been going on with that. So I guess, is Trump going to the NRA convention today?
I believe he is.
Okay, that's what I heard.
Actually, I believe he departed Andrews this morning.
Okay. So I don't know where that's part of the reason why I've got to get I had to get the truck clean because I do have some light business I have to take care of at the NRA convention this week. So not that I normally go to the NRA convention, but I do have some things I have to go there and do.
Going down there?
I'm losing you. What'd you say?
So you are going to it this year?
Yeah, I'm going to be heading up there tomorrow. It's the normal crew that goes to Camp Perry.
Yeah,
they're going to go to NRA since it's not that far, and also Scott Mayer is at NRA this week. So
okay. Well,
I'm going to go talk to him if we can. He's busier. He's busier than one on paper hanger.
Sure he is. Tell Scott I said hi. I was thinking about going this year, but especially since it's so close, But I just I'm busy. I got shit to do. And I'll be honest with you, and this isn't disparaging the NRA National Convention at all. But when you've been to as many of them as I have been to over the years, it's just like, whatever. I mean,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. And, the reason you and I feel that way is because we're in the business. And
I guess so.
The real reason is because SHOT Show has become such like the planet Jupiter. It is such its own gravity is so dominant that I've gotten to the point that I just don't even deal with SHOT Show. But if I do have to deal with stuff, we'll normally do it through the NRA, because the NRA, if you go to the NRA show, if you've never been, if you're there this week, if you're in the hotel this morning and you're going to go and you're going to go see Donald Trump today or whatever's going to happen, and you're like, man, this is busy. It is not. I don't care how busy the NRA will tell you how many attendees they had compared to what happens at SHOT Show. It's a walk in the park. And, and so, like I've got to go up and there's some vendors that want to talk about some stuff for the Armory. Like we're reconfiguring things. We can't really go into it, but there's an opportunity to go up there and talk to them. There's some other stuff for the range. So I can go up there and look at some of their stuff. And so since I'm going to go and I got to have some meetings.
Yeah, no, if you're going to go, you might as well just work in as much shit as you can.
Yeah, walk the floor and look at some stuff. So, things I can talk about.
Yeah, I'm just so, like I said, I seriously considered going this year, but it's like, man, I'm just so, I don't want to say burnt out on the NRA show, but it's just like, I don't really see taking the time out of my busy schedule to where it would benefit me.
It's much more difficult for you because your schedule is either 100% or zero. And what ends up happening is it normally will show up at the end of your off week. And you have to, and you work nights. So, I can see that.
Look, I've got like 300 hours of PTO time. I can take off anytime I want without a problem. I mean, I've got so much, because here's the thing. When you're off every other week, you never really tend to use your vacation. I mean, so I've got so much vacation time built up. I can go on a freaking European cruise and, if I want, but I don't know.
I remember a couple years ago, didn't they tell you, they were like, hey dude, you got too much vacation. You better use some of that shit or we're going to take it from your ass. And all of a sudden you were taking weeks off or something.
Yeah, well, they're telling me that again this year. I've got till the end of the year to use up half of what I have, or they're going to take it away from me, which is total fucking bullshit, but whatever. And actually, I have almost 400 hours of sick time frozen that I'll never ever get back. Because under the old system of vacation and sick time opposed to the new system, they changed the system several years back. It kind of sucks, but, hey, it is what it is.
So you keep telling the listener about your sick time and your PTO and your built up stuff, because I know deep down in the darkest recesses of your heart, you're filibustering because you don't want to talk about what happened to your red dot.
Oh, fuck
you. Hold on now. Most people have no idea what's going on. So this is not a known story. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Okay. So we're out at the range, Tuesday?
In a brand new, freshly cleaned truck, yes. Thank you for mentioning it.
Well, not brand new. Quasi-clean truck. So we're out at the range and we're working in the the 308 Howa, which actually was very successful. It was a very good range session in that respect.
That gun's a shooter, dude. Even with that scope holding it back, that gun's a shooter.
Even with that crappy ass 3x9 hunting scope, or I don't know, what is it? It's not a 3x9. It's like a 4x10 or something like that. It doesn't matter, but it's a basic hunting scope, and I'm telling you what, I mean, that thing is just really walked into, man, it's a demon. I'm going to play with it. I'll probably put a better scope on it, something with adjustable turrets in that I can play with. But for right now, I am so happy with that rifle. Even
Still
with
not talking about the red dot.
Okay, okay. Everyone that follows us knows that last year I finished up a pistol build, an AR-15 pistol build, and I'm using a red dot TRS-25 on it, which I like. They're decent red dots. They get good reviews. They're affordable.
It's Bushnell, right?
Yeah, it's Bushnell. And I'm a big fan of Bushnell. I mean, I've got Bushnell scopes. I mean, hell, I got a Bushnell scope on my crossbow. I've got it on my shotgun. I mean, I run Bushnell scopes on a lot of my hunting guns, because they're great hunting scopes. Actually, they're just in general great scopes. They're affordable. They're, I mean, are they Schmidt and Bender? No, but they're a decent, affordable hunting scope.
They're a tenth of the price.
Well, well, maybe a 20th of the price on some of them when you get right down to it, but, so I'm out there trying to zero in the red dot on the pistol build because, I mean, I've never really, we test fired it. I mean, but we never really shot it. So I'm out there at 100 yards. I believe it was 100-yard steel we were shooting at. And
we shot it at 100 and 200.
Yeah. And every time I pulled the trigger, the recoil, and look, the recoil on an AR-15 it's nothing. Every time I would take a shot, the red dot would wink out. And I just put a brand new battery in the damn thing the day before because I knew we were going to be using it. I put a fresh battery in it. And like I said, every time I shot it, the red dot would wink out. I'd have to tap the red dot and we probably have video of it somewhere.
It's in the queue. It probably won't be out for a week or so, but we have it.
Okay. Well, those that are listening, just look forward to the abomination of the video that's going to come out. But you know what? That's what it's all about. I mean, shit happens. Gear goes south. It's all part of shooting.
How many? Okay, well, hold on. Yes, that is true. But we had discussed this because I know. I mean, let's just be real here. I mean, I haven't shot as much as I normally do because I've been building this range. But I have been shooting, still a fair amount by bow standards. I don't think you've shot that much this past year because of all the range construction. And I asked you, how many rounds does this RDS have under it?
It's got less than 100 rounds under it. I mean, even though I've had this red dot for about 3 or 4 years, it's got less. Oh man, it's got less than 200 rounds on it.
I bet it's got less than 100.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's got less than 100 because.
Do you think you fired 100 rounds through that shotgun with that on there?
No, I've only fired about maybe at best 40 rounds through the Vepr 12. But through the testing phase, because if you remember when we tested the AR-15 pistol build, it was before we bought. But actually, you bought them. You bought 2 of the risers for the red dot. Because when we were testing it, we were like, "Oh, this red dot's way too low." But the day we tested it in the pistol pit, we fired 100 rounds through the gun that day.
Did we?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we did. Because we were loading 20 rounds in the mag, and we fired 5 mags through it just as a testing cycle. You know, we were just making sure. And I don't know if you posted video, but we had video on that too.
We had something up from that, but you know, and look, that makes not that I'm not trying to kick the Bushnell because it's not the Bushnell. I mean, it is, but you know, look, it failed it could have been 100 rounds, maybe under 200 rounds. The thing is, if something like this is going to fail, it's going to fail 1 to 2 times. It's going to fail basically immediately, which is what functionally happened, or it's going to fail at the end after a long life where all of a sudden it just falls apart.
Well, yeah, and you know, the thing is, if it fails at 10,000 rounds, it's like, oh, well, okay, I got 10,000 rounds out of it. What the fuck? You know, it failed. But this thing has less than 200 rounds on it, and that's not acceptable. And look, I'm not ready to stomp on Bushnell. I mean, it is what it is. Now, I have reached out to Bushnell and have not heard a response yet.
They're probably at NRA. They're so big. They're not at NRA, but they're probably their customer service people at NRA.
But you know, Bushnell has a presence at NRA, so you know, because we've talked to him in the past. There,
I could walk it into him if you want, but you got to get me. Well, you got to get it to me today. I don't have time. You have to bring it to the Armory.
You know what? I'm so busy this afternoon with stuff. I don't have time to bring it to you. But I will say this: if you're going to be at the show this weekend and you happen to run across a Bushnell representative, maybe just mention it.
If it comes up, I'm not going to lead with it.
No. Look, and honestly, I wouldn't even go out of your way to look for him. Because look, I understand it's the time of the year with the NRA show going on. I didn't expect an immediate reply from Bushnell. I really didn't, because I understand that they're busy.
Bushnell's a big company. I don't think the average person appreciates that. They're a big company.
No, they're a huge company. And look, at the end of the day, they have a great warranty on their product. You know, I mean,
that's the one thing why we like Bushnell. Like that's why I bought the. It's fairly high dollar, especially for Bushnell, the laser rangefinder, because I wanted laser rangefinders. They just tend to go, you know what I mean? They'll just shit the bed just one day, and it's like I don't want to buy a $700 rangefinder. All of a sudden, one day doesn't, and I got to buy another one. It's like, well, Bushnell would at least, you know, they'll give me a 50% trade in on a new one or something.
Yeah.
So you know, it's fine. Now we also, besides the red dot, we also might have had issues with it taking adjustments.
You know, I don't know. I'm not willing to go down that rabbit hole yet. And here's why. With the red dot winking out like it did, I don't necessarily know. I mean, when you start compounding problems on top of each other, you know, you don't really know what the problem is. Yes, it did seem like there was problems taking adjustments, but we didn't know what the MOA adjustments were. I didn't have a manual, and it wasn't, you know, the adjustment knobs are so small, they didn't have anything written on them. So we didn't really know what we were doing at the time anyway. I'm going to say maybe a 50% maybe on taking adjustments. But I'm not willing to necessarily dive into that 100% at this point.
Have you, when you got the red dot home, have you changed out the battery a third time or messed with it to see, can you get it to blink out like just banging on it? Have you messed with it?
I put another battery in it. And like I said, the batteries I have.
A third battery?
Yeah, I put a third battery in it the very next day.
Okay.
but the thing is, I really can't get it to blink out because I haven't shot the gun, and the thing is, it was blinking out under the recoil of the gun, which, again, AR-15 recoil, not that bad,
Yeah.
So,
and we were on the range, and it's, it's fine. The thing is, it's unfortunate because it's one of those things where, I mean, people were coming in, they're like, what red dot would you recommend? And, and I hate to tell people this, but I have to give them the honest truth here. I say, number one, I'm not a gear reviewer. I say, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, when we go to the NRA show or we go to SHOT Show, or we deal with a company, it's not like, hey, give us your shit so we can fuck with it and get traffic. That's not our business model. Yeah. So basically we set stuff up, we run it until it breaks, or we run it until it never breaks, because we have other things we have to do. And the thing is, my go-to red dot is from a place I used to work, and it's an aim point. And, how I got into the aim point, it basically was, you need rifle. Okay. You need red dot. Okay. Here's red dot. Okay. And it's like, it's super expensive red dot. And that gun, I mean, I hate to tell kids, it's like, well, the only one I can recommend red dot I have really experience with is the aim point. And because oh my God, I haven't even looked at them, because I haven't bought an aim point in since I don't know, 2000. And I mean, maybe, I don't know, early. Yeah. I mean, it's been 10 years, but they're $500-$700. And I hate to tell people that. So,
and I'm not going to buy an aim point. I think it's stupid money. I'm not using this gun as a working tool. I mean, look, if I was banging indoors and clearing rooms, I would run an aim point. I would. This is a range toy. It's a truck gun. I'm not going to spend that kind of fucking money on a red dot. I mean, it's just not going to happen. But let me tell you this. I have been, for the past year, maybe a little over a year, ever since SIG, and I'm a SIG fanboy. I mean, you know how I am with SIG. Mm-hmm. SIG with the Romeo 5, I think it's Romeo 5, I believe. They're red dot, and it's been getting great reviews. And not that I've been looking at them hard and heavy, but not that I would go out and like jump on one just because it's a SIG red dot. But now that I'm in a situation where I need a red dot, I'm really thinking about I do think Bushnell will replace this red dot for me, which is fine, because you can't have too many red dots. But I'm really thinking about jumping into the SIG Romeo red dot for the AR-15 pistol, just because, well, it gets great reviews. I've not really heard anything super bad about it, and well, it's SIG, and how I am.
I just did a search for SIG Romeo.
Yeah.
And I'm not. Okay, so I'm trying to figure. It looks like they have multiple, unless the picture's wrong here. So, okay, they have a Romeo 1 and a Romeo 4. So here,
I've been looking at the Romeo 5.
Okay, let me type in that then. Let me take a quick look here. Romeo. Somebody already did it. Let's see what's Romeo 5. So I'm looking at Sportsman's Guide has a Romeo 5, and to me it looks like it's, I call it the aim point design. The red dot that you had, the Bushnell, is an aim point mini. This Romeo 5 is an aim point mini. It's that format, and they want 180 for this thing.
Optics Planet, and Optics Planet has mixed reviews, but I've ordered several things from them in the past, and it's kind of like, I've never had any problems with it, but Optics Planet sells the Romeo 5 for 120. It's like around $130, $130.
That's pretty. That's a significant difference. I mean, I'm looking at a full retail, whatever price.
But with that being said, I don't believe that the 120, 130 comes with a riser. I think it's just the red dot itself, which I don't need a riser because, thank you. when you picked up the last, you picked up a riser for one of your guns, and you picked me one up because I needed a riser on the pistol build. So
I picked up a riser because do we have a? I've been so busy, dude. Do we have another one of those Bushnell red dots here at the Armory?
Yes, in the Armory, there is a brand new Bushnell TRS-25 in the box, never been mounted, never been fired on, and it's brand new in the box. I don't know where it is in the Armory, but there is one in the Armory. It's brand new.
Okay.
It's never
that's why we
mounted.
bought the riser.
Okay.
So, and the reason, and here's the reason why we bought it. It's coming back to me now. So, we're doing, a lot of people want us on the internet, want to see the reference guns,
Yes.
and it's like, okay, I'm not going to yank off the aim point off the real aim point off the real gun to constantly be moving this thing around. So I was like, well, you like this Bushnell. I'm like, and there was like a Christmas, there was some kind of super cheap sale.
No, and actually, I think when you picked up the second Bushnell TRS, man, I think you got it for like $80 or $85. You got a killer
I think I got
deal.
for $50. I think I got I got it for like $50.
It was a killer sale that was going on, and it was just like, well, you know what? Shit, for that price, I got to buy it. And
yeah, and it was like, it's like, okay, we'll get this red dot. It'll float. Somebody wants to see, like, there's so many guns that people haven't seen. It's like, if we can get a red dot on it, just so we can shoot video and run a gun with it. Okay,
sure.
boom, 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 boom. Because,
And it's a great optic that, you mount the optic to the riser, and then all you got to do is pop it off of gun A, pop it on to gun B. Boom, we're in business. We got a red dot. We can run
if the red dot doesn't blink out and if it takes adjustments. Because here's the thing. Look, it'll be fine statistically. Because I'm not shitting on Bushnell, but there does come a point when you're doing this, because we fucked with your red dot for like an hour.
Yes, we did.
And there comes a point, like, if we're pulling guns out to do stuff with them, they're reference guns anyway, and all of a sudden I got to spend an hour fucking with this gun just to zero it at 25 yards in the pit, that red dot's going to be in trouble.
That's got, actually, if that's the case, it's got to go in the garbage can.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does, because when you're taking an optic that you're just popping on and off of different reference guns to run in the pit for video, you can't spend that kind of time. All right, time is money, so to speak. And I mean, it's like if it's that big of a problem, it's got to go.
So, but you know what? Look, we'll put a bow on this. We'll put a bow on this. Let's put a bow on this so we can kind of like, wrap this one up and move on to the next subject. But look, when you're on the internet and you take positions, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Oh,
the
absolutely.
Truth is, on this one, you're going to be people that are like, "See, I fucking told you." And you know what? At this point, they're going to have to take it. Now, but you know how the internet is. There's going to be somebody out there that's going to hear something you said. They're going to be like, "Wait a minute, he put it on a shotgun. Fuck you guys. Of course it failed." Maybe.
And you know what? Maybe that's the case, and maybe the TRS-25 just can't handle the shotgun recoil. I mean, that could be the case.
You know why? Maybe because we're not gear reviewers. We just do what we're doing.
But I do happen to have a friend of mine who's ex-Marine, but for whatever reason, he's a super AK guy opposed to an AR guy. Well, I'm sorry, I misspoke. There's no such thing as an ex-Marine. He's a Marine who's not actively serving. Yeah. And anyway, he's run a TRS-25 on one of his AKs for years. No problem, no issues. And he loves the TRS-25. It's affordable, it's cheap, and it holds up to the AK recoil. Hey, good for him. Mine has gone south. So, it is what it is.
He's probably got it mounted up there by the gas block.
I would imagine, but I've really...
No, not whatever they call it. The part on there's a part on the AK where a lot of people mount red dots and it gets super hot, I think.
Yeah, well,
and I would think that would get hot and hurt it more. But we can't talk about this Bushnell for an hour. We got to get off this. Have you seen the, and you probably have not, have you seen the Suppressor demo video, Suppressor stuff we did with Officer Mike?
I watched it last night.
Okay. Now forget the last half. That was just me being a dick.
I know you were being snarky with memes and shit, but I actually first half of the video until you started getting into your commentary. And there's nothing wrong with your commentary. That's great. But I found the first half of the video, since I wasn't actually there to see the suppressor testing.
Yeah, well, you don't need the commentary because you just talk to me all the time. You know what the fuck I think.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I watched the whole video, but the second half of the video is just like, yeah, okay, come on, finish it up, But you're right. Unlike our viewers that are seeing this for the first time, we talk every day. So, I mean, I knew all your commentary before.
So, watching the video with the microphones from the camp, what impressions do you get overall? Like, what appealed to you or didn't appeal to you?
The Bolt Action 22 was whisper quiet. I loved it. What was it? A 1022? Was that 1022?
That was a takedown 1022 with a.
Boy, that thing! I thought that thing sucked. I was not impressed. Not impressed at all with the suppressor on it.
And here's the thing: like, it was quiet and it was fine. But here's the thing, and a microphone on a camera will do two things. It will raise low sounds and it will lower loud sounds. And I'm pretty certain that microphone, when that 1022 action was slamming shut, it was dropping it. Because I remember being like, fuck me. Here's the thing. For animal deprivation for urban situations, you in theory could be around people and houses, because how deprivation works is nobody wants to know it's happening. And that 1022, you'll never get away with it.
I think the quote you said on a podcast or two ago is PETA doesn't want to know how the coyotes get removed around their building.
Isn't that true? PETA does. Some coyote snatches their little lunchbox dog into the woods. And, they call people and they're like, well, you got to do something about them coyotes.
Yeah, but they don't want to know how it's done. Mm-hmm. But yes.
Or the people in the fancy subdivisions don't want to know, like, these deer keep eating my flowers. Do something about it, but they don't want to know how that happens.
Well, when you're in a subdivision where all the houses are $1 million plus, and you got deer eating all your high-end landscaping, you want the deer gone, but you don't want the deer killed.
Yeah.
But as long as the deer end up gone, you're a happy person.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that that goes on in golf club communities and goes on in all these places.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. And, but they don't want to know how they're gone, so they don't want to hear it either.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I know various groups of people that don't know each other, because even within, like, these people, most are law enforcement, but even within those communities, it's very interesting. Like, those groups, like, even the politicians that are the bosses or control the command staffs of these organizations, they don't ever want to hear how this stuff gets taken care of. It's like, don't tell the mayor that, officer so-and-so is whacking Bambi or whacking these coyotes, because, they just don't want to hear it. They, as long as nobody gets hurt, as long as nobody ever finds out and nobody complains, they just, it's magic. And so, and there were some opportunities that have come up that I can't, obviously, in this conversation, I can't go into, but there's some deprivation opportunities. I look at them as opportunities. Some people look at it as work. And it's like that 1022 is never going to fucking fly.
No, I didn't think so. I was impressed with the 9mm pistol.
Dude, I got to admit, that was pretty. I was like, for the people that haven't watched the video, let me give the quick summation. The 1022 integrally suppressed gun I thought was going to be fantastic. I was disappointed by it. The 22 bolt action gun was so impressive, it immediately changed my mind on it. I thought the 9mm pistol with a screw-on suppressor was going to be a gas nightmare. It wasn't. It was fantastic. And
okay, let me interject for the people that haven't watched the video. The 9mm pistol is not like a Glock 9mm. It's an AR pistol build.
Yeah, it's a 9mm pistol. My mistake. It's an AR 9mm with a short barrel. And it actually takes Glock mags.
Yes.
And it's got a screw-on suppressor. I thought that was gonna suck. That was fantastic. And then the 300 blackout, because he brought 300 blackout. Dude, 300 blackout, and in this scenario for what this bullshit. I was like, what the fuck? I mean, here's the thing. I mean, like, there's Gucci. He's even got like this. I'm gonna do a thing on his Gucci ammo. He's got some Gucci. Like, this shit's crazy. It's like maybe $2 or $3 a piece. I don't know, but it's crazy. But here's the thing: 300 blackout. Yeah, it's subsonic. But here's the thing: for animal deprivation, where you absolutely cannot be heard, it's not that quiet. It's not quiet enough to do that. It's not quiet enough. And I'm like, well, I don't fucking need this then. There's another reason why I'm not going to shoot 300 blackout. Because here's the thing. In a bolt action gun with a suppressor, I can just buy subsonic 308 or 300 Winchester.
Yeah. Well, and I was not impressed with 300 blackout either. It just was not, you know. But, you know, honestly, I've never really been interested in a 9mm AR build until I watched this video. I mean, you know, because I'm into the AR build thing, you know, I've seen the whole, you know, the 9mm AR, you know, I've seen it on it. It's like, yeah, whatever. But honestly, for a suppressed pistol build, I tell you what, I kind of like the rabbit hole Officer Mike went down. I really do. I was impressed.
Shit. That thing was shit.
I mean, look, if I wasn't going to suppress it, would I be interested in it? Probably not. But for something you can suppress, I'm telling you what, I am not opposed to doing a 9mm build next.
Yes. Now, let me go ahead and make this point, because this was my concern. And I made reference to it in the video, and I don't think most people really understood it. And you have to watch the gear reviewers to really get the feel, because we don't have any of these to show. Okay, if you take a 5.56 rifle, pistol, whatever it is, and you suppress it, and you watch the guy shoot it, all right, most people pay attention to the noise or, you know, the crack of pew, 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 or whatever that is that seems cool, but they don't notice the gas that comes out of the ejection port. And it's, you know, and the higher the pressure, the more gas, the more it blows in your face. And it's blowing mercury dust, lead dust, burnt powder, hot gas in your, I mean, it could, you know, be a thing. Well, here's the thing. When you have a gun that's built from the ground up to run, not suppressed, it has a gas port of a certain size. Okay?
Yes.
And then you put a suppressor on it, it increases the gas pressure in the entire system. And so now you have more gas blowing back. So I was wondering if the 9mm guns, because they have to be able to function, most guns, if you turn down the gas so they can shoot suppress and not blow you in the face, they won't function without a suppressor because there's not enough gas in the system. Well, the 9mm AR pistol even though, because that's a screw-on suppressor, even though it's underneath the handguard, that's not an integrally suppressed gun. That's a pistol, and he put a suppressor on it, just screws it on under there. And you watch that video again, there is no goddamn gas coming out of that ejection port.
Oh, I mean, it was a good build. I mean, I was impressed with it.
Now, there is an issue.
I know when it comes to AR builds, you're just like, yeah, what the fuck ever, because you know how AR builds, and I'm kind of into that right now. But I mean, dude, and correct me if I'm wrong, he built that himself, right?
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't a butt gun?
He builds, I think just about every gun in that video, with the exception of the, he builds most of his guns, I think. Except for like the Noveskis and stuff.
Yeah, no, I was seriously impressed with that build. It was top notch, and I
build quote.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, look. Again, how many times have you heard me say building an AR is like playing with fucking Legos? Smith, you're just an assembler. Building an AR is the simplest thing in the world. If you can change brake pads on your car, you can build an AR. Yeah. All these guys that think that they're hot shit because they build ARs, they're lying to themselves and their friends. Mm-hmm. Anyone can build an AR. It's like 8 fucking parts. I'm exaggerating, of course. It's not that big of a deal. Building an AR is simple. It's like putting Legos together.
So let's talk about the AR 9mm pistol thing for a second.
Yes.
So I'm looking at this. I'm like, we got to get one of these for the pit, because I'll tell you what, like your AR pistol in 223.
It's loud.
I remember. Yeah.
I got a flash can on the end of it, and that's part of the reason. Now, mind you, I'm running a 10.5-inch barrel. I'm running an 11.5-inch handguard, and I've got a 3.5-inch flash can on the end of the barrel. And for those that don't know what a flash can is, basically instead of having, a muzzle, it is a muzzle device, of course, but instead of having a brake or a flash hider on it, it's basically a cone. And what it does is it forces all the gas and everything out the front. So if you're up close and personal to the muzzle, you don't get any flashback on your hand. Well, that's great, and it works phenomenal in that respect. However, because you're forcing everything out the end of the can, oh my God! It's almost as obnoxious as being on the next bench over from a guy who's running a super brake on the end of the rifle.
I mean, the can doesn't make a difference as far as the amount of noise that's coming out of that gun. It just pushes it forward.
Yes, but it's super loud, and
it's retarded loud.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I put a regular flash hider on that barrel, well, I'd have to change a handguard because the handguard.
Split your handguard open. It won't. The amount of unburnt powder and explosive force comes. I'll be honest. Those shorty AR pistol guns without suppressors on them,
loud.
I fucking hate them. No, I hate them. I mean, I remember running across one like years ago. The first people that ever came out with that was like 20 years ago. It must have been about 97, so 22 years ago. Was it Carbon 15 or something? And
Carbon, yeah.
I remember this guy. He was a college professor. And he went out. He was a gun guy. And he went out and bought one of these because it was expensive. It was an expensive gun, and it was
actually the Corbon shit that was out there. It was expensive then, and it's expensive now because it's actually super fucking collectible.
Yeah, but the thing is, he could buy anything at the time, and so. he goes out, he buys this thing, he comes back. I see him a while later, and it's for sale. He's got it for sale in this gun store. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't want to say the guy's name. And I'm like, oh, is this yours? Or you just buy one? He's like, yeah, that's mine. And I'm looking at it, and again, we're friends. So, I'm looking at it. I could buy it, but also we're friends. So, you don't sell a car to someone you know. He looks at me, he goes, hey, Mark, I want to tell you something. It's loud. I'm like, yeah, there it is. He goes,
no, it's loud.
He goes, no. He gets real quiet. He goes, it's loud. And he's looking at me like, you don't want to buy this fucking gun. And I was like, okay.
Because there's loud, and then there's loud.
There's loud, then there's burn the eyebrows off your face. And, these guns, like all these AR pistol builds, all these people, they build these guns that are just unshootable.
Well, no, but look, here's the thing. I don't think my pistol build is unshootable at all. I think it's perfectly fine. It is loud, yes. It is louder than if you have, okay, like the BCM truck gun. Yeah, it's a lot louder than the BCM truck gun. No doubt.
Let me put it to you this way. When we first moved in, we were setting up the range, and we're kind of learning, getting to know all the neighbors, and the whole goddamn county knows. I mean, it's, we're so embedded now. But again, people were afraid when, doing all this stuff. They didn't know. They literally, the rumor was, I think they're going to open up a Thunder Ranch, and it's like, it turned into a huge drama.
Oh yeah,
which is fine. It could have been worse because there's a guy I know that opened up a gun school many years ago, and they thought he was a cop, and they thought he was a militia guy, and they were going to come out and arrest him. Literally, all these rumors had gone out that some militia had come into town and set up this compound, and the local police were going to come in and arrest his ass. He had to go out and be like, "Well, I'm a cop. Here's what's going on." So anyway, we first moved into that property, and we're the one range. I don't want to say formats of stuff. But if you had shown up with that particular pistol build, we'd have gotten a complaint on it.
Oh hell,
that
we got
thing is
anyway,
no. I'm talking a noise complaint. That thing is so stupid loud. I hate that gun.
Yeah, well, you know what? Fuck it, I like it. So screw you.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, so the 9mm pistol. Here's the thing. Look, that gun's fine. Like, you could do what you want with it. You could shoot it out the distance and do what you want to do. But running and gunning in the pit, there's no reason to blast all that unburnt powder in 5.56 to shoot at 15, 20 yards.
And I agree with that. And that's one of the reasons I'm thinking about as soon as I get the X39 build done, I might do a 9mm build. Because it'd be great in the pit, but hey, look, Officer Mike's shooting an AR 9mm AR pistol build suppressed at 200 yards, and he's hitting steel. Okay, now
Officer Mike was hitting the 200-yard. It's a full silhouette. The 200-yard silhouette with more accuracy with the 9mm than he was with 300 blackout.
Well,
and people on the internet are going to be like, "Fuck you, that's bullshit." Now again, both of them, he's holding them like 2 or 3 targets up above.
Yeah,
but there's a section on video where we've been shooting the 9 and shooting the other guns, and he's got this. It's super heavy. Super subsonic 300 blackout bullet. I can't remember what the weight was. He takes a shot at I think it was at 200 yards. And he says it spontaneously on video. He goes, "Holy shit, that dropped a lot." It dropped more than he expected.
And look, the 200-yard target, as he points out, is a big target. Because he's a sniper. He's used to small targets, and it's a full-size target. So compared to the 100, 150, even the 300-yard target, it's a big target.
It's a big target because we're going to shoot a lot of iron-sighted guns at it.
Exactly. But the point is, and I don't think even the viewers of the video realize the size of the target compared to other targets we have set up on the range. It's a full-size silhouette target. It's a big target. Now, and that in itself is okay but you know, when you're having trouble hitting the 200-yard target, being a full-size silhouette target, that's an issue.
We didn't get it on video, but I was shooting the VP9 at the 200-yard target and connecting pretty well.
You were pretty fucking amazing. I mean, you were like 1-2, boom, 1-2, boom, 1-2, boom, and you were like dead on at 200 yards with VP9, and I was like, okay, I'm thoroughly embarrassed.
We didn't get it on video, so I can't prove it. So whatever. Yeah. I can shoot a fucking handgun, dude. I mean, that's my wheelhouse.
Yeah, you can.
But you know what? Look, here's the thing. If you're out there and you're like, oh my God, 200 yards, I'm going to tell you something. Shooting a 200-yard piece of steel, a full-size silhouette steel with a 9mm is not that hard. 45 is a little bit more work because it's like, I mean, it's not that hard.
I mean, it's literally a fucking mortar at that point.
All it takes is basically you have to know a little bit of hold and working a trigger and just keeping a sight picture as you're pulling that trigger. You got it.
Let's talk about amazing. What's amazing is our 300-yard target, which is just basically a head peeking up over a log.
Yeah, we have a full-size silhouette 300-yard target at 300, but the problem is there's about 15 tons of down tree in front of it, and I have to so you only get about a head and about tops of the shoulders.
Okay, so you're actually, what do you got? Less than a square foot of target area that you can actually see from the
well under. You have a 4 or 5 inch head, and then the tops of the shoulders, like the very tops, maybe the top 3 inches.
Yeah. So we zeroed the Howa 308 rifle in, which video will be coming up soon, at 100 yards. And we had it, we worked on it. It took some time, but we got it pretty much on the dot at 100 yards.
Some of the issues we were having with that was that Radway ammo we started with too.
Exactly. And we started really with the wrong ammo. But
we had to reuse it up.
Yeah, we used it up and it is what it is. But once we got to the PPU ammo, shit, that thing really came into play. So anyway, we got it pretty much zeroed in at 100 yards, and zeroed in at 100 yards. You're shooting at a full size steel at 200 yards. You don't really have to do anything with it. It's just bang, put the crosshairs on the target. You're going to hit it pretty much on a full size silhouette steel. Maybe shooting low to where your crosshairs are, but again, you zero it in at 100, full size steel at 200. It's not that big of a deal. So now we go out to 300 yards where we've got maybe an 8x8 target silhouette that we can hit.
It's not even that big.
It's not even that big. So we got 300 yard, and I've got the Howa 308, and it's on the bench, mind you. It's not, freehand or anything.
Let me put it to you this way. The target at 300 yards is like a $250 and $280 target, and we have about $40 of target visible. I mean, it's like, that's a waste of money.
Exactly. So, did I miss on the first round?
Yeah, what it is, and you're forgetting something very important.
Yes.
It was pretty windy. And we get some major winds. So
major winds. But
what it is you were shooting it and I was spotting it, and so you were close enough. I just called you a wind call and you hit it.
Dude, I was aiming like about a head height ahead of the above the target, and you were calling wind calls. I missed the first shot. Second shot, I aimed head height above the target and about 3/4 to the right because there was some pretty strong winds.
Mm-hmm.
Second shot, bang, right on the fucking money. I mean, I'm like, look, I'm not a bad shot, but I'm not an amazing shot either. And
that was a good shot, dude. That was a good shot.
I impressed myself because the target area was so small at 300 yards, and it was just like, wow, with the holdover, it was like, dude, I've got the big dick of the day. And, you know,
on film.
Dick of the day. You know.
Well, the thing is, and let me go ahead and make this point because there's people listening to this like, I make 300-yard shots all the time. Of course you can, especially if you got, you know, super bug hole scope and, you know, you got adjustments. Again, this is a 10 power scope. But again, 10 is plenty. You can shoot 1,000 yards with 10. But hold on.
Go ahead.
Again, you say stuff, but people don't know what you mean. It's a hunting scope.
Yes.
What that means is this scope has no adjustments. You can adjust the zero, but it doesn't have repeatable clicks that you can work your way up, work your way down. That's marked with a stop. So basically, you have to have your zero, and then you have to start doing holdovers to get out there. Now, that is not that uncommon. Here's the thing: Officer Mike, being a sniper, if he gets out on our range and you notice, he doesn't even do adjustments anymore. He's to the point now, he would rather every gun he's got, he would rather have whatever zero he's got, probably 100, but I don't know. And he does holdovers all the way out to like 500 and 600 because his argument is, as a sniper, he's set up and all of a sudden something to the left is different. How far is it? Whatever. He might be seeing it through the glass. He's got to go, oh, fuck, hold over, bam. And so, you know, you get to a point where you don't dial all of your, as you get better at stuff, you do holdovers. But you, not as a holdover guy, you did a holdover shot with a hunting scope. You don't have the experience in high winds at 300 yards with this Howa. And, you know, look, it's not Camp Perry. That's a good shot. That was a good shot.
And look, the thing is, with this Howa, I've got maybe 150 rounds through this gun. So this is not a gun that I'm real familiar with. I mean, this is a new gun. I mean, you picked it up in West Virginia, maybe a year and a half ago?
Yeah, I was outside of D.C., yeah.
You were outside of D.C. and one of your several gun stores that you visit when you're in the D.C. area. And it was like maybe a year and a half ago. So I don't have that many rounds through this gun. I'm not real familiar, I mean, with this particular gun. I mean, I like it. I like the way things are going with it, but I don't have that many rounds through it.
I told you, because I've shot that gun, and I've seen how accurate it can be. I was like, oh, it's going to be great. We ripped that scope off. We put a decent piece of glass on that gun. That gun is going to be real interesting to see how far we can take it until it falls apart, or if something's going to change in it. It's just interesting. That gun's a shooter.
Right now, the next time I'm out at the range with that particular gun, I want to play with the 450 target because that's a safe target for us. And I'm not details right now as to why that's safe over 500 yards. But honestly, I really can't shoot at the 500-yard target until I get better glass on that gun.
Yeah, we have a target. So I mean, I can go into it. I don't want to. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. We have a target at 450 that sits on a big hill. So if you miss this target by like 30 feet, you're still in the hill. You're not shooting off the property.
Yes, exactly.
There comes a point at longer ranges where if you're actually shooting over berms, you're shooting over berms, and the bullet is not going into a berm.
And that's the thing with our 500-yard target. If you miss by 30 feet, you're going over the berm, and that's not acceptable with this particular rifle.
No, so that's why there's a big target. I mean, here's the thing. We spent this, again, people don't appreciate this. If you look at our range, and you look out there, you see hills, and you're like, oh, yeah. And you'll see, like, there's, these fingers that come out from, like, if you're looking at it from right to left, from your point of view. And you'll see the fingers coming down, and we've got targets on these fingers, hills and valleys, hills and valleys. And then there's one finger, there's a big scoop out in the middle of it, like a highway went through it.
Yeah.
That scoop out opens up the 450. It can be 550 from a different shooting position. On purpose. It cost a lot of money to do that. And the reason I set that target up is I wanted to have the ability to shoot 45-70 iron sight or super low back, like a shallow sharps rifle at 450 and 550 and be stupid off.
Yes, and still keep it on the range.
So that scoop out there. That scoop out, I don't know, it was like $4,000 just to dig that through. It's been a lot of money.
Yeah, no, it was every bit of $4,000. It was every bit of that. I mean, look, when you start running a D9 and you're cutting out a finger on a...
Hold on, it was a D8. Keep it real. D8. You just spoke.
But
once you're over 50 tons, it doesn't matter.
Does it fucking matter at that point? But look, it was stupid money. But it was needed money. I mean, because look, you're not going to cut out that hillside on a Bobcat. I misspoke. It's not a hillside. It's a finger. Mm-hmm. It's a finger ridge. And you just can't do that with a Bobcat. You need big equipment to do that. And if anyone pays attention to the video and they see that finger coming out with that big cutout in the middle, it's like, oh, yeah, shit. Because, I mean, hell, that cutout from the top of the cutout to the bottom is, I don't know, what, 12 feet, 15 feet?
12 to 15 feet deep. It's tons and tons and tons and tons of dirt.
Tons of dirt. And, I mean, you don't do that with a Bobcat. I mean,
here's the thing. Here's the thing. If people ever want to look at the property. So if you look at get on the website, you look at that, looking down the range, and you see the trench. I don't know what the cutout we call it. And the thing is, it's scary because if somebody were to trespass onto the property and come in from the right in the dark, they could literally drive right off that. I mean, like, we could find somebody and tail down there.
Because we have a trail that leads to the top of that.
Yeah, because it's to service that range. So don't at the 450 or at the 350, 450. Well, here's the thing: if you're looking down that range, and you see the farthest berm that you can see from wherever we're photographing from, because it'll be at 500 yards or 600 yards, whatever it is. Yes. If you look at that hill, if we don't put it in a tower, to shoot the 7, the 8, and the 9, which we don't have a tower yet, so that's a possibility. The plan B is to trench again to the right of that 600 and push through the next 3 fingers.
Okay, so the question is, what's cheaper, a tower or a bulldozer? I mean,
I don't know yet. It's probably a tower's probably cheaper, but it depends on how much money you put. Here's the thing: if it was a public range that had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shooters every day, and you had to deal with the lowest common denominator and no range safety officers and stupid people that will fall off a tower and do stupid stuff, the tower would be $50,000 to put it up. Yes. But we could put up something for probably $6,000. And it's big boy rules. If you fall off the tower, fuck you. It's your fault.
So, hey, here's the thing. If I fall off the tower or you fall off the tower, who are we going to sue? Ourselves? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what it boils down to. So
here's how it works. If I fall off the tower, I pay for the life flight helicopter to come in. If you fall off the tower, you pay for the life flight helicopter to come in and get you.
Exactly. So it is what it is. Now, if it was a public range, that would be totally different.
Yeah, because you have to deal with people that are just retarded.
Well, sure, exactly. So obviously, if it was a public range, the better of the two options would be to cut another trench. But
so anyway, we got to get off this. We've been talking about this for a while. So to get back to the 9mm pistol thing, the 9mm AR thing, my debate was, do I get a 9mm AR pistol and then thread a suppressor on it and then have it gas me to death? Or do I get one that's built? And so there's a Brown Recluse 9mm integrally suppressed rifle, I think, because it's a single tack stamp gun. That's, and it doesn't gas you because it's gassed right for a suppressor. But the thing is, Mike's gun didn't gas him anyway, unless he adjusted that gas port.
Okay, so my opinion is, let me build you a 9mm AR pistol. That's my opinion.
Now, why don't I just get a SIG MPX with a handguard that comes off of it, and I can thread in a suppressor under the handguard, and a SIG MPX locks and unlocks as opposed to being a blowback.
But it's not a free special. And I build fine rifles, or in this case, it'd be a pistol. But
you said freeze special. I thought you said free. I thought I heard the magic word free.
No.
I think the listener heard the word free.
No, it'll be far from free.
Did
Trust me.
Just go up 2 octaves? What?
Yeah, it did. When you said free, I mean, my balls shriveled up. It was like, oh no, it's going to be far from fucking free. But look, I build good shit. You know that.
Your offer is well received by the Armory if it's free.
Yeah, I guess it is. Fuck. But look, no. I mean, seriously. I mean, look. Okay, let me build you. Let me build you a 9mm pistol that you can thread a fucking suppressor, because you've got a suppressor coming. It's on the books.
No, we don't have one that's big enough for 9mm. We have to order it.
Really?
Yep. It's a 30 caliber can. Suppressor's 35, or 9mm 35.
Okay.
3.55 caliber bullet.
Okay. Well, you know what? We'll put a 9mm suppressor on the books. That's coming anyway.
That's kind of what the whole point of the demo day was, to figure out the next suppressors. Well, you know what? This actually brought up a thing. So, Mike has got his 22 guns, and they were really impressive. And one of the things that, like, a lot of people were like, why don't people shoot subsonic? Why don't people shoot subsonic 5.56? Because a 40 grain bullet in a 40 or 50 or whatever grain bullet in a 22 is no different than a subsonic 5.56, 55, 60, 70 grain bullet in a 5.56. I mean, you're in 22 long rifle territory. Well, here's the thing. I'm really curious. When the Integra suppressor comes, which is a suppressed AR upper system, for that Army surge program.
Mm-hmm.
If I buy subsonic 5.56 ammo just to shoot through it, I'm curious, one, if it'll cycle. Two, what it'll sound like. Like, will the action be as loud as probably the Ruger 1022 or louder? And three, if I shoot it over a chronograph, I wonder how it'll compare to a suppressed subsonic 22. I mean, you just might turn it into basically. We might have an integrally suppressed Ruger 1022 coming. We just don't even know it.
Well, maybe
a $2,000 Ruger 1022.
Yeah, fuck that.
Well, I mean, we've already got it.
I mean, fuck that. But it may be the case. Look,
I think about shit like that.
Yeah, look, I'm like 80% sold on building the 9mm AR pistol next. Whether we have a suppressor for it or not is not an issue, because truthfully, a 9mm AR pistol in the pit is not bad anyway. Mm-mm. So I'm like honestly, I was like, I've seen all these 9mm AR pistol builds, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't fucking care. It doesn't interest me at all. Until I saw the Officer Mike video with his suppressed 9mm pistol build. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm kind of on board with this whole idea. You know,
dude, because we buy cases and cases and cases and cases of 9mm.
Oh my God, we buy thousands of rounds of 9mm a year because that's our primary round. And it's just like, you know what? It kind of makes sense, even if it's not suppressed. Let's just get away from the suppressor aspect of it. It's like, you know what? It wouldn't be bad to run a gun, especially with the new target things we got set up that we just had built. You know, what the hell are they called?
What, the high angle targets?
No. They're setting outside the storage container right now.
Oh, the VTAC barricades.
Yes, the VTAC barricades. And you know what? Not even suppressed, a 9mm AR pistol with those barricades would be kind of interesting.
Exactly. That's the entire point of the pit.
You know, even if it's not suppressed, I mean, seeing Officer Mike's video of him with the suppressed 9mm AR pistol build kind of makes me feel like, man, maybe I need to buy one or build one of these. And the thing is, they take Glock mags. I mean, how can you fucking go wrong with Glock mags?
Yeah, his takes Glock mags.
Yeah,
Some of them take like the SIG MPX one takes a proprietary mag, and then hold on, the Brown Recluse one takes Colt SMG magazines, which is considered a better mag.
Yeah, but I don't give a shit about that. Honestly, Glock mags are tried and true, whether you get an 18-round mag or a fucking 50-round drum. I would go with a lower that takes the Glock mags. I mean, that's what I would go with because it's tried and true.
I just haven't decided yet.
So I don't know. When I get the X39 built done, I'll decide on what I want to go with. But I'm like I said, I'm 80% in the wheelhouse of building a 9mm AR pistol, mind you.
Yeah. So since we've talked all this to death, we have to do a little bit of politics here, and then we got to get off because, you know, we only can do about an hour.
Okay. What do you got?
I think Trump is showing up at the NRA today. Do you think he's going to do or say or give anything to us, or do you think it's just going to be rah-rah? You know?
I think it's just going to be rah-rah, whatever. I don't think he's going to give us anything. Look, do I think Trump is a champion of the Second Amendment? No, I do not. Do I think he's anti-Second Amendment? No, I do not. I think he's fine with the Second Amendment, but I don't think he's going to do anything to, like, give us a boner.
National CCW reciprocity.
I don't see any of that happening. Maybe if he gets elected on a second term, which I think he will, but maybe in a second term, but first term, no, not at all. Not at all.
You know, Joe Biden got in yesterday.
What do you think
about Biden? Yes. What do you think about Biden versus? I
think Biden is the Democrats' best opportunity of beating Trump. I don't think Biden will beat Trump. My personal beliefs, but if the Democrats want a chance of beating Trump in this election, Biden's the only possibility. Kamala Harris is not going to do it for him.
Look. Oh, hold on. I got some opinions on Kamala Harris. It's Kamala. Don't be
whatever. Kamala, Camellia, whatever.
Look. Kamala Harris. She's got a lot going for her, but let's be real. She has a fundamental problem, and it's been showing itself now these past few months. Look, she's got a built-in base. Okay, she's from a huge state. In the primaries, she should do well. She's an attractive woman. She's an educated woman. She's a prosecutor. You know, she should have all this stuff. But, you know, going for her. But you know, the who's the guy? She, you know, her whole past with this man that was a politician and she was having sex with, that doesn't help. But her real problem is you get her in front of a microphone and you ask her questions that should be so simple to answer. And she can't, she fucks them up. I mean, she ran right out for Jussie Smollett and danced all over that shit, then looked like an idiot. And like basic things like felons voting and like this stuff, it's like, this is not hard, you know, or, you know, it's bizarre. But yeah. Joe Biden, look, Trump is beatable. Trump is beatable because the argument is all Trump, if Trump doesn't get the same voters in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, I think it's Wisconsin, he loses. And it's like there's different numbers. Some people say it's 50,000 people. Some people say it's 80,000 people. Well, those 80,000 people that voted for Trump, that cost Hillary those states are all, according to the policy people, it's all they're your dad. They're white, working class, you know, like UAW workers. They're not all UAW workers, but here's the thing. Joe Biden can fuck up Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And so, you know, so if Joe Biden takes Pennsylvania from Trump, then Trump has to win Michigan and Wisconsin. And it's like, oh man, you know, but the thing is, can Joe Biden get out of the primaries? Because all the creepy Joe shit sniffing the hair and all the commercials and all the whisper campaigns have not been coming from the Republicans. That's all been coming from Bernie and AOC and the Democrats. Yeah. They are going to crucify him. And Joe Biden's voting record and his positions over the last 40 years are terrible. He was against Star Wars. He was against the missile crisis. They call it the modern, you know, like when Reagan had to put the Pershing II missiles into Europe because the Russians put the SS-20 and and got them to back down on that. He was against all that. He's against everything that turned out historically worked. He voted for the Gulf War. The liberals hate him for that. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I don't know if Joe Biden gets out of the primaries, but if Joe Biden, you know, I don't know. I just have to see. Trump against Joe Biden. All the people in Washington that are smart say Joe Biden doesn't have a chance. And those same people said Trump didn't have a chance. And I'm not prepared to stand on that.
And here's my position. Joe Biden is the only Democrat that has a chance, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, no one else that the Democrats can put up against Trump, I think, have a chance, except Joe Biden.
Did you see what happened to Bernie at the Black Women conference thing?
I don't think so.
So Bernie shows up at this thing. I think it was in Texas, and I think Joy Reid was there. So, you know, Bernie's older than like dirt. So they're asked. So like this is a minority women's event, and so all the questions are supposed to be, "What are you going to do for us?" Like Donald Trump talking about the UAW workers at the NRA show may not be the best strategy. Well, you know, Bernie's got to talk about minority women, what I can do for you. And so they keep asking him questions, and there's all these groans and people, all the audience, they hated him. Like they asked him something about, I can't remember what it was. He started going like, well, you know, I actually marched with Dr. Martin Luther King. And literally the entire audience is like, we know, you know, it's like, shut up. To answer the question, dick face. And it's like, here's the thing, you know, there's all these people that are real Democratic voters. They don't like Bernie.
Well,
but Bernie's got the money.
Okay, but here's the thing. How many of these people at this convention or whatever it was were under the age of 30. Because Bernie has the young vote. I mean, and that's the thing. You know, a lot of these college kids, you know, that are under the age of 30 love Bernie. And I mean,
they're stupid.
Well, I mean, they may be stupid, but he's got the vote, is what I'm saying.
He's got a rabid base that's, you know, he's like Trump. He has a rabid base that he's not going to lose. He's got a built-in 40% of the Democratic base that he's not going to lose them.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll just have to see. So, all right.
I know it's very interesting though.
I think the real race for 2020 is happening now, not during the general.
You know what? I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree.
And what that race really is what the Democratic Party is going to be. Because
exactly.
Is the Democratic Party going to turn into the American Communist Party? Because right now it looks like it. And if they do, they're never going to win another election again.
Well, that's kind of what it looks like.
It's kind of what it looks like.
But you know, I mean, we'll see.
We'll see.
You know.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. So, this wraps up episode 131 of the John 1911 Podcast. If you want to see any pictures or stories of things that we talked about, go to our website, John1911.com. That's JOHN1911.com. Remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun. Everybody, have a good day.
See you later.